Doug Burnham, he's the Interior Secretary. Listen to this, the way they all line up behind this nonsense. He said, CO2, carbon, was never a pollutant. He said, when we breathe, we emit CO2. Okay, Doug, you know what? Let's try this little experiment. Tonight, when you get home, go in the garage, close the door, turn the car on, and let's see if carbon is a pollutant, okay?
You know, we look at what happened in Venezuela, for example. It is not a, it is not a remark on who Maduro was as a leader. He canceled elections. He was an anti-democratic leader. That doesn't mean that we can kidnap a head of state and engage in acts of war just because the nation is below the equator. And and by the way,
wow,
I thought
it's amazing how ill-informed these mutts are. Holy crap, Eric!
I thought that was a nice pairing for the day.
They have advisors or factoid people.
Well, doesn't Bill Maher have writers? So does that mean you have a room full of idiots who put that shit out?
That writer got fired because
one would hope.
He fires so many writers all the time. That guy is now looking for work, guarantee you.
I hope so, because he looks genuinely stupid in that.
He's an idiot anyway. I mean, he needs these writers, as most comics do. Most people,
Sure.
They need writers to make them look smart. So that goes without saying.
Well, and I figured in fairness that, even if if you or I were doing a show, we'd need writers, just because the amount of material in a short period of time, it's hard to just come up with the top of your head. That's
right. I think he's got about 7 or 8 writers in there. I mean, at one point he hit one in the face with a piece of chicken. Famous story from other writers have told me, and it's just brutal to the writers. He deserves everything he gets.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's par for the course, because it's like the Bill Maher sequence. It's 1 minute, it's like, oh, look, the guy's making sense. He's so. Next week, don't worry, he'll correct things and get
well.
back.
After the Trump thing, I thought he'd double down on Trump. After Trump slashed him. Yeah.
But that wasn't Trump. That was Doug Bergen.
Right. No. But I mean, Trump went out of his way to smear the guy. I was very pleasantly surprised. It's not like Trump has to respond immediately to these people. He's got other things to do. So sometimes it takes months, and Trump goes, "What did the guy say? All right, let me write something here."
I can think of other people give it responding to too. So it's sort of like it's so capricious. Like if you just catch him in the wrong day, that's when he's going to respond.
Now, what's her excuse? I mean, she doesn't really have an excuse.
Oh no, but come on, that was a beautiful moment.
Yeah,
and the thing is that honestly, most people probably would not know if Venezuela was south of the equator. Everybody knows Venezuela is south of us. She had to add the word equator, and that's where she did herself in. If she just said, if there's people down south that we don't care about, like implying Mexico and everything below it, I'm sure that's what she meant. But it doesn't matter. She's stupid. And
also negating leaving out that he was, a drug tunnel to the United States in terms of drugs coming here. Yeah. Which is really what he left out, the entire reason for his apprehension.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm just going to leave that out and make it seem like they just kidnapped other leaders, because she mentions he's not a legitimate leader. He stole the election. Okay, but that still doesn't give us the right to save another country from a dictator. Well, that wasn't the reason she went in, and that he went in to get him.
Wow. Amazing. By the way, just to say, it is Mardi Gras. Happy Mardi Gras. Hope everybody is celebrating. We had
good times roll.
Yep. We had my father-in-law over. Leslie made some homemade gumbo, mufalata, and crawfish pie. So
wow,
it was a nice little celebration for today. She goes out of her way.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah. So started on a decent roll with their biggest news of the day. I'd say there's two main stories.
What is the biggest news? 800 stories, Hunley. How do you rank these things?
Well, I'm just going to go with
You're right. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Jesse Jackson or the trans dad shooter. Probably.
To me, it's Robert Duvall over Jesse
Well,
Jackson.
I would prefer Robert Duvall, but we are a political show.
Right.
So.
No, you're right.
Definitely want to talk about all that. So let's go with Robert Duvall.
Let's go with Robert Duvall. I mean, one of the last of the great character actors, the last of the breed, really, of the great. Again, the guy before him was next to last was Gene Hackman.
Well, yeah, who was a little older. They're about
world.
Years.
Yeah, the same exact world and the same position, basically, in movies. You know what I mean? They couldn't really open a picture, did a couple of, miniseries and Lonesome Dove, obviously television, but sure. I'm talking about movies. Yeah. Because Duvall was emphatic that miniseries writing was nowhere near the quality of movie writing. He went out of his way to say this, except for his Lonesome Dove thing that he loved so much, which he said was extraordinary, quality. But for the most part, he even, doing these things like Stalin and Eichmann, and right. He famously said that they were history lessons. They weren't really movies, and he said, it's not like The Godfather where you have a character arc and a masterpiece or Apocalypse Now. He said and he's correct, most of these miniseries are history lessons and they're taught by the left. And, I don't know what he was implying, but he did repeatedly, I remember saying, that they were history lessons, which I always appreciated because nobody ever explained it that clearly as he did regarding miniseries.
Oh, fair enough. I think that television since then has gone up a level, though, with streaming, and movies have gone down a level. So they're starting to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The parody is definitely.
Yeah. I think he was talking specifically about biopics in miniseries. I mean, that particular genre where he ended up. I spent a day with him one time. He came up when I ran Sonora House. He came up with some guy who we knew who was an actor named Tim something or other. And I forget his name. He brought him with him. Like they must have been in the area or something. He spent the whole day on the porch with me. This must have been, I want to say 1976-ish. You know what I mean? And the two of them and me and whoever lived in the house, he was out on the porch for like 5 hours with us, just pontificating. That was
I spent Sonora House. That's a weird spot.
Sonora House. No, Sonora House.
Sorry, Sonora. That's a weird. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if he lived upstate New York or the actor who was with him, who was his close friend, who lived in upstate New York. But somehow they were in the area and they came over and spent the day with me. It was kind of a unusual kind of a day. I worship Duvall. I mean, his various roles that he played from The Godfather and Apocalypse Now and all the way down the line, he owns those roles. I mean, he made those things iconic characters in American film.
Some other lesser known ones, but I think The Apostle is highly regarded.
I was just going to say it, The Apostle. It's so funny you said that because here is the book, The Apostle, which he took years and years and years to write, direct, and produce with his own money, Eric. And it's kind of an unknown pick of the week for people at home, especially this particular audience, because Duvall always said that Southern caricature was debasing of Southern characters and especially preachers. He said they were always maligned in Northern-made films, quote unquote. And he decided, and it took him decades to make this film. And at one point in his career, his CPA said to him, "You have enough money to do this yourself." And he said, "Let's go." And that was the beginning of the film, and he paid for it himself. And it's great. It really is great. If you could find The Apostle, folks, watch it this weekend. You'll really, especially this particular audience.
Yeah, and as far as he goes, I totally agree with him about the caricatures of the South. And I blame the fact that the publishing industry is not only Northern, but it's New England, which is among the worst of the worst. Like New York, New England. and they love to make a mockery out of it. It's a running trend that this, calling us Southerner names is kind of one of the last groups that you're free to pick on or say anything you want.
Absolutely correct. And he actually calls out Brother Where Art Thou. He said the music is great. The depiction of these characters is laughable in a negative way. He calls out the Coen brothers on that one.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Sounds like he was secretly, if not conservative, at least neutral.
Yeah. He might have been conservative.
Yeah. I guess that's how you could tell a conservative. I mean, Adam Carolla said, how can you tell a conservative when they never say anything? They're probably conservative.
Yeah.
They're never going to say anything out loud.
He gave an interview at the age of 85 or 80-ish with Charlie Rose that revealed some of these secret things. If you could find that interview with him, there's a little bit more coming out of him in the later on in life in the 80s.
I miss Charlie Rose. He was a damn good interviewer, really.
I think he did something to the deep state, my friend, because his Me Too's weren't big enough to destroy his entire career. I mean, this is a guy we sent to Syria or to interview Assad, and he was a deep state operative, and he must have done something to lose his deep state credentials.
Didn't he fall about the same time as Garrison Keillor?
Yeah, they all went down. He was right in the middle of the Me Too
and Halpern
stuff.
And
yeah, no, they cleaned house, bro. They cleaned house.
Deep state.
Yeah, and the crimes never materialized. In other words, there was no Debbie Johnson who sued him for grape. No one ever appeared on any of the horizons to justify the complete destruction of 25-year careers.
Amazing.
On all of them. You named a couple of them, but there's more. There's more.
Yeah, I know. I don't know them all off the top of my head. I mean, to me, the real survivors out of the mix are like Louis C.K. actually survived and came back. And
right.
Got through.
I was kind of separating the show business ones from the political ones. When you said Garrison, that's why you mentioned those three.
Well, because I was thinking writer,
right. The show business ones I almost justified. You could look at Brett Ratner. He did some things. You could look at Louis C.K. He definitely did some things.
But at least he has permission.
There are people who named him who are real people. But
Right.
these other politicos, it seems almost like the deep state said, we're done with you,
Fair enough. Yeah, it is weird. It is weird. So, all right, well, let's pivot from preacher to preacher. We got the Reverend Jesse Jackson. So there's our segue.
What can you say? I remember meeting him at the West Palm Beach Voting Center when I was down there covering the butterfly ballot scandal. This must have been the 2000 election or something down there. And he was down there to make sure the election ran smoothly. I was there to file duplicate ballots to see if I can get away with it, which I did. So I kind of introduced myself, went in and was using this intentionally. I didn't live there. So I was using my parents' address to show how easy it was to vote twice in the Florida election. And I went into the voting center with my ballot. I'd already voted previously to this, and I went in with the butterfly ballot. On top of the counter, you can't make this up, on top of the counter was a dwarf who said, "How can I help you?" And I said, "I'm here with my ballot." And he said, "Did you see Jesse Jackson?" I said, "Yeah." I shook his hand outside, and I gave the dwarf my ballot, and then left and went back to the car where I was reporting for a website at the time. And it was like out of a Fellini movie, Eric. There was Jesse Jackson and this dwarf inside the ballot place, which was the town hall of West Palm Beach, whatever the civic center there is. And I went, boy, this is really odd.
Yeah, I'd say so. All right, well, somebody else knew Jesse Jackson way back in the 80s. And, a lot of people like to call this guy a racist, but here's a little encounter of somebody else who knew Jesse Jackson back in the day.
In terms of reaching out and being inclusive, he's done that too. And created for many people a comfort zone when I ran for the presidency in 84 and 88. And many others thought it was either laughable or something to avoid. He came to our business meeting here in New York because he has this sense of the curious and a will to risk to make things better. And so aside from all of his style and his pizzazz, he's a serious person.
I will tell you, a large percentage of the people, and especially in construction, that are building these great jobs are Black and minorities, and I'm very proud of it. We have close to 25%, and I think the number's going up, and they do a great job. There are no better builders than we have in New York, and a big percentage of that is Black and minority folks. So I just want to thank everybody in the room for being here. I look forward to some questions. And then I don't know how we're ever going to leave this building today, because if you look outside, it is terrible. But we'll figure a way. There's always a way. And thank you, Jesse, and congratulations.
What is it, raining out or what's
I don't know. It's either raining or they're so happy to see Jesse they don't know if they're going to get through the crowd. I have no idea what.
Right. Well, the '84 speech was probably the greatest political speech I ever heard in my life at the '84 convention. I voted for him in '84 in the Democratic primary. Later, the Hymietown thing incident really destroyed him. But, you know, I'm doing a show tomorrow on Eddie Murphy on the other channel, What's Up? And Eddie Murphy, it's so funny because I was just looking at this last night, which I'll cover tomorrow. Eddie Murphy did a black soul singer routine like Al Green with 3 black backup singers singing a song called Hymietown. And it was on SNL, one of the funniest takedowns of Jesse Jackson I've ever heard. It was absolutely genius by Eddie Murphy and the writers. So I'll talk about that tomorrow, but I was just watching that last night on Hymietown.
Well, I hope when you're doing Eddie Murphy, I think it's Mr. Roberts' neighborhood.
Mr. Robinson's. Mr.
Robinson's. Oh, yeah, which is classic. I interviewed, forgot his name, but someone who actually wrote one of them or worked on one of those.
Well, it was either Blaustein or my friend Sheffield. It was only 2 guys. David Sheffield or Blaustein. They were his writers on the show. They did Gumby. They created all James Brown, Hot Tub, and then wrote the movies.
I'll have to look it
Boomerang.
up. I honestly don't remember which one of the two.
Okay,
I think
right.
It was ideally one of the two, but
we'll explore that tomorrow. But I mean, Jesse Jackson, for a brief shining moment, was what Barack Obama was supposed to be. And Barack Obama did not want to be seen with him at any political event because it undermined his position as the first shiny new object. But Jesse Jackson was the real deal. I mean, he was there when King was shot. I mean, he, was there in back of the coffin. He was there for, whatever you want to say about him negatively, and there's plenty you could say. There's a lot on the what's that?
He was there, the bloody sweater.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, but one of the greatest orators, and you can't take that away from him. Barack Obama wishes he could do what Jesse Jackson did with a microphone. He could not do what Reverend Jesse Jackson did, and he attempts to do it multiple times to no avail.
No, I agree. I've always wondered about that because people go on and on and on about what a charismatic speaker Obama is, and I'm like, he's not. He's boring.
Listen to that.
No dynamic. It's kind of this stultifying.
No. It's a copy. It's a mimicry of Jesse Jackson. Watch the '84 Democratic National Convention. One of the greatest speeches ever given at a convention, black or white, of any person in the history of politics. That speech melted everybody in 1984. And his position, his situation changed the rules in the Democratic Party from winner take all, right, Eric?
Well, I was going to say that because when he ran against Mondale, he got the rules changed to no longer be winner takes all. And if he did not do that, Obama would not have won in 2008 because Hillary was the winner. Would have gotten to take it all. So Barack Obama owes a lot to him. I don't hear him out there marching around.
There is no Barack Obama without Jesse Jackson, bro.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, legendary figure. I'm not going to say I was the biggest fan, but he, he is an important political figure and did have his place in history.
Well, we should point out that he spit into the food of white people while he was working in restaurants and stuff. And he said that publicly. So you have to take the bad with the good.
Well,
Sorry to bring
no,
it up.
I mean, like
Sorry.
I said,
How can you speak ill of the dead, Mark? I just did. It's very easy.
you're not speaking ill of him. It's his actions.
Yeah.
No. All right. Well, fair enough. But
I never signed up for that thing. I don't know, the ill of the dead thing. I never really signed up for that contract.
I think that it depends on.
Is that a Christian thing or something? Is that like a real?
I think it's just kind of like the too soon aspect, and sometimes it is too soon. It's like, really, I mean, you've got people like Candace Owens who are making a whole career out of too soon.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But it just depends.
I just want to give a shout out to my new book, which I'm going to attempt to get signed. I just got it. It just came out. I am going to go down to Hunley's native Arizona in a couple of weeks to try to get this completely intellectual book signed by the author. And I just want to put it up here for everybody at home who wishes they had this first edition book that I am going to attempt to get this gentleman to sign here with his dog Decoy in a couple of weeks down in Arizona.
Well, okay. I guess you've got some sort of connections or into.
We'll see how connected I am. I highly doubt it, but I'm going to try.
It's probably. I'm guessing it's probably easier to get something like that in spring training than it is during a full-blown game. Or am I wrong? I don't know that much about it.
For them anymore. It's just a madhouse already. It's a complete madhouse.
Is it? All right. All right. Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of madhouse, the other story, it's been going around. It's kind of repetition now. It's like yet another.
Go ahead.
You've got a trans shooter. I noticed though they're not getting confused. At least New York Post is saying, nope, screw it. He's a dad. Because they always go out of their way. Like there was one I think last week or whatever. And Canada actually was saying a gun person.
Right, gun person. Yeah, that's a new thing. Gun person.
They're so afraid of the trans thing, and it's mind blowing. You have somebody killing other people, and they're worried about misgendering a killer. Never mind the damn victims. Never mind everything else is going. No, thou shalt not misgender a lunatic.
Well, it's not even misgendering. Halpern this morning was talking about how the Washington Post and New York Times, again, refuse to even address the subject. They will not mention it. It's like not part of the story. He's saying, why don't you just tell the facts? Who cares? You don't have to have an editorial opinion on it. They will not say it. And if you look it up, which I did after Halpern's show this morning, I started to Google trans mass shootings. You got to see the lack of information that's out there on Wikipedia saying this is some bigoted MAGA thing. It doesn't exist.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea, Eric.
If they mention it all, they're only going to say bigoted, but otherwise they just bury it. Like Audrey Hale was a female.
Right.
It was female to male. But anyway, it gets really confusing. But they go out of their way to put it in the bucket so that way we can't say, oh, look, trans. That's very interesting. Why is there so many of them? And this guy's an interesting case too, because his ex-wife, who unfortunately was also a victim.
Yeah.
Nice lady. She's married to some guy.
Yeah.
Probably like, oh, he's really cool. Yeah. The reason for the divorce is his gender dysphoria.
Yeah.
I mean, here he is. Or
you
she
have to get a divorce.
Whatever.
Yeah.
This is just perfectly normal.
How do you leave that out? I mean, it's just such a big 600-pound gorilla in the story of 20 stories in a row. This is not some aberration at this point. This is a cultural phenomenon. They wonder why we hate their guts in terms of media disinformation. Leaving out information is also media disinformation.
Yes, I agree. And the thing is, it's like, at what point are you going to pay attention? Because this guy woman got this person, individual. See, I'm getting stuck because of YouTube rules.
Yeah.
He literally threatened to go berserk.
Yeah.
No, the day before. I mean, it's
It's not relevant to the story, Eric. It's really about gun control. You're missing the whole point of the story. It's about gun control.
Yes.
Again, I'm kidding, but it
is, and it's not.
2 or 3 years from now, they'll break a story as if they came up with this connection to the massive amount of trans shooters. They will uncover the story themselves and then give themselves a Pulitzer Prize.
Oh, for sure.
The way things have been going. You wonder why the Washington Post is out of business.
It should be. I mean, it's kind of like Bezos. Have you sold it off yet? What are you doing, man? Get rid of it.
I know. Well, it's not so easy to find a buyer for a wounded animal like that.
I guess when you're a billionaire and it's just your change, you're like, yeah, whatever.
Well, he probably saved himself like $1 million a day, and he probably said, it's a good week. But just by the cuts, he probably said, all right, that saved me $1 million a week or whatever.
He might just be using them as a tax write-off.
I know.
Honestly, there's so much money this guy has.
Yeah.
That he could just be like, okay, this is my main tax write-off area, and that gives me leverage.
It's so sad that all the billionaires are turning against him. I mean, Zuckerberg has now fled to Miami Beach from California because he does not want to be taken down by the billionaire tax that Newsom is levying against his like-minded cronies that he thought were like-minded. They're fleeing with luxury U-Hauls as fast as they can, Hunley, out of California to avoid the deadline for the billionaire tax.
Yeah, I mean, good for them. I wish them all the success in the world because
they don't want to be part of the social network anymore, so to speak, of California.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you're going to start seeing some talent leaving California as well. I mean, they already are like ranches in New Mexico and this and that. And so, I mean, aren't actors leaving the area? Or
actors have a much more nebulous relationship because they have to be here to get the work. And it's not, unless you're a mega star where you can really cut and run. Most people have to have meetings and lunches and auditions and shit like that. Unless you're mega, it's hard to pull out.
So how does that work? And I am curious, is it just an important part of being around in the social world? Go to the parties, hang out, see the different people all the time, so you're on top of mind?
It's more than that. It's actually meeting with your lawyers, meeting with studio executives, meeting with casting agents, meeting with real people. Forget about the social life. I mean, you physically have to be here to go through the motions. You could be shooting for 2 months in Australia, but that's the final end of the project.
Sure.
The physical shooting, it may take years of meetings to get that, $2 million, $5 million deal.
That is something
you can't phone that in.
Yeah, that's something I've always wondered about too, because it's like, if you look at actors, even the big ones, their actual time on set working is what, a month or two out of every 2 or 3 years. So I mean, it's like a really compressed time period. And then
right, but it's also post-production and ADR and reshoots and everything. People don't know that it could be 6 months of your life for one picture, off and on. And you got to go into a studio, for instance, here in Hollywood, to do looping afterwards or do reshoots. You can't just flee, and live in France. It's just not doable.
Well, that's true. But then that's why so many of them love voiceover work, right? Because go into the studio with their PJs and flip-flops and just go to town.
Yeah, one of the first ones was Robin Williams, and one of the biggest ones was Eddie Murphy, which Shrek and all the things that he did. So yeah, they all do it. It's great work.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
It put the real people out of work who used to do it,
which is very frustrating because I think that yes, they're very talented and their voices are recognizable, but even though he's a little woke, Hank Azaria is a true voice professional. Yeah. I mean, it's.
But Robin was able to do 20 different characters. So did Murphy.
Okay,
but they really.
Robin Williams and Eddie Murphy aren't fair comparisons because they're both comedic.
They're freaks. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and we're talking Robin Williams, Juilliard, always did multiple voices and everything. So,
well, Eddie Murphy went to Roosevelt High School.
So what?
Eddie Murphy went to summer school from Roosevelt High School every single summer of his life because he got zeros on his report card.
Well, yeah,
he's the opposite of Robin. In that
fair enough. Fair enough. But both extremely talented, and I think Charlie Murphy was also very talented, if I recall.
You know, I don't know. I'd have to do a show on Charlie Murphy. It's a strange thing. He makes him his bodyguard. Next thing you know, he's writing movies for him. It's hard to tell with Charlie Murphy.
Well, there you go. He might show up in your comments.
Yeah,
nope,
he may
probably
show
not.
up.
He's dead.
He's dead.
That's right.
He was dead a couple of years ago, but who knows?
So fair enough. All right. Well, here on the flip side, we were just talking about the trans shooting and everything.
Yeah.
A lot of people did not realize this. Did you know that the homicide rates right now have plummeted? They are at their lowest rate. Let me see if you could figure out since what year.
2019, 2020.
You're going to be blown away.
When? 1992.
1900.
1900? That's insane. I'd have to take that with a grain of salt. I have to look at Axios a little closer than that.
Well, I mean, Axios.
I mean, we had a homicide rate in LA in the 80s and 90s that was the highest of any urban civilization in the world. So I don't know what that number is there.
Well, I mean,
I'd have to do a deeper dive on that. I can't.
I mean, fair enough, but you're also talking about per capita. So if there's
right, I don't know what
people, but the number of
right, I don't know what the numbers are there.
But anyway, that is remarkable. And Nate and I, we were just talking about it earlier, and it's like nobody talks about it. And my theory is that it's kind of like the Maytag repairman, or if everything's running okay, nobody really thinks about it. So if the murder rate is down, people aren't talking about it a whole lot in many places. Much the same as like, who's the governor of Kansas?
I don't know. I don't live in Kansas, so it's hard to tell. I mean,
right. I don't either, but I'm just saying there's a lot of
governor
states.
of Indiana. Yeah,
exactly. And I think a lot of the states, though, where you don't know who the governor is or whatever, a lot of times they're just doing a good job. And it's like you don't think about them because there's no.
Speaking of governors doing a good job, DeSantis signed a bill today to ensure that teachers study Western civilization and teach it in their classes. Very, very profound bill that he signed today.
Yeah, 11,000 have accepted, been in the program, or I think it might be 21,000. Anyway, it's approximately 11% of all teachers, because somebody asked about how many, and if you think about it, that's a pretty solid number. Over 1 out of 10, if you look at all the subjects that are available, that would be probably the relevant people, for learning the quote classics.
Yeah. Bravo to DeSantis, though. I mean, he physically pulls things off. I don't care what you think of DeSantis. He gets shit done, Eric.
He's a manager.
He's a manager. I mean, but what else do you want? Do you really need a poet? Do you need a guy who's a comic? I mean, do you need a great speaker? I mean, you really do want a manager. Yeah.
I don't think anybody will say he's a bad governor unless they're on the wrong end of it, but he won by a landslide. He got a lot of Democrats to vote for him too. He's definitely not.
But he is a guy who puts his money where his mouth is, if I could say that, and gets things done. Yeah. And that's not a bad legend to have on your Wikipedia page.
No, I think he's going to go down, in history as what he is, a pretty damn good governor. I mean, following other governors, even Jeb Bush is a very well-respected governor too, before that point, and others. So, but DeSantis is standing out even amongst, a legacy of them.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's fantastic. But all right, so let's shift to your neck of the woods. And
what is the neck of the woods? I don't understand the neck of the woods.
I'm guessing.
What does that mean? The neck of the woods.
Well, I'm guessing that it's kind of like a neck of water, but probably in terms of the woods, because a neck is like where two pieces of water are sometimes connected.
Is it related to the heart of the matter?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly. I don't know every phrase.
I don't. Some of them. I'm
that's
just
where
obsessed about.
I love
this stuff.
AI because it's like, boom, boom, but you just ask super quickly, and you don't have to go through
The neck of
50
the
ads
woods,
on
the heart
Google
of
to
the
find
matter,
out.
the brains of the operation. I mean, there's a body part for everything, apparently.
Yeah. Okay. That makes perfect sense because what do we relate to? And these things are all this can be.
All hands on deck. Let's go. Well, that might be a naval.
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's got his fingers. He's got his fingers and a lot of pies, Eric. What about that one?
That one sounds good, but I mean, all hands on deck. You need hands for ropes,
Right, right.
holding them down for the sails. But I don't know. Good point.
He
But,
really put his foot in the bucket on that one, didn't he?
as long as he didn't kick the bucket.
Oh, kick the bucket. Yeah, yeah. Who knows what that means? Even.
I don't know, but it makes me think there were probably Instagram influencers at the time. Like, what would the term be for the selfie fall?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, how many times have you seen that headline of she took a picture on the cliff,
fell off the cliff?
It's just like over and over and over. So I wonder if some of these sayings come off of a similar type of circumstance from back in the day. Because
Oh yeah, whatever it was back
any
then.
wiser.
Yeah.
So, all right. Okay. LA residents fought rampant break-ins with an ingenious solution, and now the city is forcing them to stop.
This is right over here by me. Valley Glen is pretty close by in the San Fernando Valley. They had South American gangs looting their homes nonstop, breaking into their cars, stealing their license plates. I don't know what that part was about. So they installed these solar-powered cameras 24/7 at their own expense. Not so cheap either, for everyone in the neighborhood to chip in to pay for these cameras and signs and posts. And apparently the crime dropped precipitously to zero. So now it's not the police coming after them. It's the city infrastructure, street people who are saying you can't put up your own street lights with street signs and power things and everything else. And they're asking for help from elected officials to prevent the city from taking down something that the city couldn't stop, the robbery and looting of these people's homes.
Well, I'm trying
here's one. That's a good shot of one. Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out the justification because if I'm correctly understanding, this is private effing property.
No, it's not. It's on public property. It's not. It's like in the streets, like
Okay.
in front. It's not on private. That's the kind of the rub. There's 22 of these that they put up like on the curbs, Eric. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, okay, then that's my solution. If they can't get it any other way, I would just say, okay, everybody, do you agree it's going to go into Bill's yard? Bill, is that okay with you? Stick it on the corner. We'll pay for it, please. And then the city can't say.
Well,
shit.
they've had such amazing success with this thing. They're kind of upset that the city wants them to take it down. I think that's the bulk of the story, not finding yet another solution to an incredibly successful solution, which they've had. They said these people defunded the police. We got robbed repeatedly. They all of them said the same thing. These are not bomb-throwing leftists. They're saying we're homeowners. One guy whose family lives in the house, grew up in that house as a kid, and he said he can't stand being robbed by Venezuelan gangs anymore.
Or anybody. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Well, the police told them. They went to a town hall and they told them who was robbing their homes.
Okay.
So they had a lot more detail to the stories, and it was just repeatedly every week. So they got together and came up with this great solution that worked 100%. So the city said, that's far too effective. Dude, it's going to make us seem like Mama Luke's. So we got to get rid of this because now we look like schmucks is really the story. And the mayor, Karen Bass, doesn't know anything about it. So she, quote unquote, they're appealing to her to step in. And of course she won't.
Well, I know how they could do it. Create a holiday. Call it like the camera holiday. She likes holidays, right?
Oh,
So create a surveillance holiday and put it on her calendar.
But this is the same Maduro that AOC was so concerned about having his reign of terror ended by Trump This is their version of the reign of terror of Maduro, who sent these gangs here, just
Sure.
like Noriega did, just like Castro did with the Mario boat lift. Viva and I were covering it last week with the Scarface movie, which has political overtones, because in 1980, as you're well aware, being in Guantanamo, Castro sent the best and the brightest from his prisons to Miami, some of them including drug dealers, criminals, murderers, and everything else. He later teaches Noriega how to do it, who teaches Chavez how to do it, who teaches Maduro how to do it. And AOC is upset that somebody ended it. I mean, it's breathtaking, Eric, the cycle of insanity.
Yeah, of course. And I love her Latina accent, how it gets amped up as she's talking. It's like, it is so, he's like, wow, listen to that. She was coming out fresh off the boat.
I've never heard her speak like that in Queens. She never spoke like that when she was a bartender, when I was ordering drinks from her. She just said, "You want a shot and a beer? Okay, here you go."
Yeah, she must have been using her Boston U economics degree, which
Right.
is one of the most ironic things I've ever heard.
Well, she went to Hillary Clinton High School and learned how to speak in a Southern patois. By the way, who's testifying next week, as you're well aware, on the 26th, I believe, her and her husband back to back, 26th, 27th, before the House Committee, Oversight Committee.
True.
She was talking to British. She was talking to Hillary was talking to a British journalist, saying, "I don't know anything about these people. I know. Yes, I may have met them on occasion." And somebody pointed out that Maxwell was at her daughter's wedding, sitting on the aisle, for Christ's sakes, after the sex convictions. Wow. Oh my God, lady! Have you no decency?
So who is the best code switcher out there? Would it be Hillary Clinton or Kamala? Or
that's a good question. That's a good question, because
we can put that into the chat.
Bill
Who's the greatest code switcher?
Bill was really subtle at it.
Yes,
because he could speak like a Princeton scholar or a Rhodes scholar, which he was, but he could smooth his way into a real deep Southern patois, anytime he wanted to.
But he actually was from Arkansas.
Right, I know.
And
so is she, in a way. She lived there with him.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he was so subtle in it that he was almost giving a nod, not mocking. Like, I've got my pepper sauce in the bag, her famous thing.
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I'd have to think about who the number one offender was in that case,
She definitely.
I'll tell you good ones. Joe Biden. I mean, they'll have you all in chains. They'll have you all in chains. I had to go knife with corn pop, and y'all know whether you're gonna end up in slavery again.
But I'm talking about good ones.
Well, Bill Clinton.
See, Bill was subtle. You're right.
Subtle.
He was so subtle that he would.
Yeah.
And Trump just goes the opposite way. Like,
he doesn't.
Trump goes in full Trump.
He goes in full
everybody
Queens.
around him.
It's Queens.
Okay.
It's Queens. He's just, that, like I've said before on the show, his dry sarcasm is so much drier than mine and not mine personally, but Brooklyn sarcasm gives you a hint of that you're being sarcastic. In Queens, and it's not just Trump, in Queens, the sarcasm is so dry. That's their humor, that they really don't want you to know if it's sarcasm or not. We don't do that in Brooklyn. We kind of hip you to the fact that we're being sarcastic. It's a different type of humor up there, which I understand. Initially, the press took every word he said as being for real when he was being sarcastic, and they later used it as a weapon against him. And some people who weren't aware of it, to their credit, didn't know that he was being sarcastic.
Which I understand. I actually ran into that when I was in the Army. There was two soldiers, and I just wanted to beat the shit out of them. I mean, no offense, but it was just everything they said was just mouthing off and they were massholes.
Yeah,
essentially. But I had never really been exposed to the fact that it's like, no, that's just the way they talk. They sound, these particular ones were from the Boston area or whatever. They're kind of like Bill Burrish or whatever, but it just like everything they said just came off like absolute pricks. They couldn't answer anything without this just tone.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I've really been exposed as like, okay, so it is a cultural difference. And that's, I think that's something Trump's fighting through a lot is.
Yeah. I mean, there's cultural differences within the city of New York itself. I'm getting into the weeds a little bit, but between Brooklyn and Queens, it's radically different, let alone Massachusetts and New York. That is radically different, you know, plus they got that accent, you know, which is weird anyway.
Yeah, well, that's why I said massholes.
Yeah,
tell themselves that.
Well, don't forget, there's the Jersey asshole, which is the Bill Maher, John Stewart school of economics over there, which is completely insane. They're just complete douchebags.
Okay.
No, everybody knows what I'm talking about. If you're from New York, everybody knows what a Jersey asshole is. It's a whole separate subspecies in its own separate country.
From what I understand, Jersey's point of existence is to make everybody else feel better. Like Camden feels better, or is it Camden, Jersey, or what? Like Pennsylvania picks on New Jersey.
Yeah. It's bad. And they're so embarrassed by it. They're so defensive about it that they really, yeah, I'm from Jersey. What'd you say? Yeah, I'm from New Jersey. What exit? That's 52 of the thing over there. They're really defensive about being outed as Jerseyites. They go, yeah, I'm from New York. And they go, yeah, well, what part? He goes, I'm over there. Where? They go, Paramus. That's not really New York, bro.
Well, what I don't get is, okay, from what I've seen, being in Jersey, most of the state really is the Garden State.
Yeah.
Jersey has a really nice shoreline, by the way. I don't get that. Why can't you say beach? Why is it shore?
I have no idea. Jersey Shore. I have no idea why it's called that. Yeah.
But
well, the biggest asshole, of course, currently going on tour is Bruce Springsteen. He's the father of New Jersey. And has anybody proven themselves to really come out and be the biggest asshole in the history of show business than Bruce Springsteen?
He's up there.
I mean, he's really trying to, people tolerated him for years. He didn't do anything. All of a sudden, he's become this incredible raging asshole. And, you know who's going to be laughing at him the most? Is a guy who just shuts up and writes songs, and that's Bob Dylan, who saw years ago that this was the fate if you went public politically. There was only one fate, and you'd end up as a Springsteen, New Jersey asshole.
Yeah, you said Bob, and for some reason I was thinking actually of Bob Seger, who's another guy who doesn't go mouthing off with anybody. He just makes songs.
Bob Seger, the Silver Bullet Band from Detroit?
Yeah, because they're kind of contemporaries.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive.
Oh, okay.
They're contemporaries, though. He and Bruce Springsteen. So,
Dylan was
but Dylan came before them. Dylan's kind of like the old, older brother.
They called him the new Bob Dylan. That was his claim to fame.
Oh,
initially.
really?
Oh no, it was huge. It was quite huge, bro. It was.
I'm sorry to Bob Dylan.
Of course. I mean, Bob knew that this was going to happen if you kept coming down on every single issue. And he shut up like in 1980 or something and said, I'm done, weighing in on these political things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, I never liked Springsteen's music anyway. So it's kind of like, well,
he saved rock and roll.
Whatever. I always thought he was too cacophonous.
Well, he's going on a No Kings tour now. That's why I mentioned it today. He announced No King starting in Minneapolis.
Well, maybe he could have Bon Jovi join him.
Bon Jovi's another one, also from New Jersey, I think.
I know, that's why I brought him up.
Yeah, no, dude, he was at the Super Bowl doing some stupid shit. I'm going like, what does Bon Jovi have to do with this? When did he become the face of the Super Bowl?
All right, well, while we're talking about assholes, Pam Bondi released 300 bigwigs in the Epstein files. It's like more and more and more and more names are coming out. So I guess
this is it, right? She's done.
That's what she's claiming.
Okay.
But come on, Mark, to be fair, they were all in her desk in February.
They were in the
and then it was out, and then it's not out. Then there's nothing there. Then it's there. So I assume this is all of them now. But
for some reason, I think this might be it. I don't know why. And look, I'm no fan of Pam Bondi, that's for sure. But I think they're done. I think they're done.
That would be good. I mean, there's plenty of them to go through, and people can be going, through them for a while. I mean,
Well, that thing with Ro Khanna and Massey last week, that was the lowest of the low. I don't know what Whoopi Goldberg is in there now, and there's all kinds of people who are just mentioned in there, but which is part of the reason. And Trump actually came out saying, a lot of people are going to get named. They're in there. Like, I think I brought up Joe Rogan. Is in the Epstein files. Is it because of meeting Epstein? No, it's because Lawrence Krauss was sent by Epstein to ask Joe Rogan to let him be on the program. Joe Rogan said no. So Krauss is apologizing to Epstein. So Joe Rogan actually looks really good because he was saying, no, I don't want the guy. And that's, I think in general, this is why Trump was opposed to this massive release, because he saw this coming of everybody's pointing fingers. But on the other side, look how many people's careers have ended because of this, rightfully so.
Well, more and more. One guy who really, I think, is caught up big time, and a lot of people are afraid to talk about, is Bannon.
Well, how about Wasserman, who closed down his talent agency and is still running the Olympics? And Karen Bass called for him to resign today.
Oh, she finally did.
Yes. Oh, it's a big story, front page of the New York Post. Yeah. Or the California.
You mean Post. California Post?
California Post. Yeah. Wherever my copy is.
You're celebrating California Post. Don't mix it up.
Greatest paper ever written.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
he's lingering. He's lingering right now.
Well, what about Lutnick? I'm surprised that he's still...
that kind of went away, the Lutnick story. I don't know what happened to Lutnick. Good question.
Yeah, so I mean,
he lied about it, Lutnick, as have others.
Oh yeah. I don't know what my name. I know nothing about my neighbor. What?
Well,
No.
Hillary Clinton and Bill are going to have a rough week. Let me just put it that way. This is going to be another Benghazi moment for her, I think, where she's just going to say her new equivalent of what difference does it make?
Yeah. It's
because they know that Maxwell went to her wedding, and they know certain things about Hillary and those they're not going to be quiet about.
What's funny, because really it's more Bill than her. If I'm being fair, and I can't stand her, I mean, I prefer Bill over her, sadly.
Yeah.
But in a weird way, it wasn't like she was the one getting the massages and seeing the women, as far as I know.
No, absolutely.
Bill's peccadillos,
absolutely.
And her political survival. Can you imagine life at home with those two?
She said to the British Reporter yesterday that, her husband went on his plane a couple of times because of the Clinton Foundation. And Mark Halperin just had a laugh. He's been on the plane 32 times and flying to the island and hot tubs. And here she is the week before the testimony attempting to spin this thing. She's going to be under oath next week, Eric.
Yeah, it's interesting. And Halperin knows the Clintons as well as anyone. How many times has he talked about his first job was covering Bill Clinton? Following Clinton, he talks... Every time somebody says something positive about Trump, or he goes, you know who else? Well, Bill Clinton. Everything.
Well, he kind of framed this whole thing now as Bill Clinton versus Donald Trump. Like they're each pointing the finger at each other. But you'd have to say that Bill Clinton has a lot more at stake here than Donald Trump does in terms of exposure.
Well, especially, I mean, things that are coming out on Donald Trump. Technically, you could say, yeah, he lied by saying, I don't know what the guy did, when there is a phone call from him. But what's the phone call? Hey, yeah, you're on the right track. This guy's a creep. Go check him out.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, technically he lied in a sense later when he said, oh, I don't know what he was doing. But it does look really good if he's sitting there calling the police chief and authority saying,
oh, yeah,
go get the guy.
How about kicking him out of his club? How about him? All of the things that he did, they can't, and the fact that Biden never went after him, because the reason they didn't go after him is also Bill Clinton's exposure, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny that Biden doesn't seem like he's in there, or any of the Bidens.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I mean,
he's too busy putting his wife's ex-husband in prison for murder.
Well, I mean, Hunter could have found the time.
He might have been too young at the time. You're talking. He might have been off the radar age-wise, Eric.
anything's possible. It might have been like, hey, we're too busy in Ukraine corrupting here. We don't
Well,
have time
keep
for
in
that
mind,
sort of
these
stuff."
are business quasi sex party things, and Hunter
Sure.
really had no business other than being a front man for the Biden crime family. So he really wasn't an actual businessman. You know, when Gates is going down there, Gates is actually doing business while contracting social
Fair enough.
diseases, right?
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly, according to his wife. Who am I to say? You know, he's
Well,
trying-
according to the Epstein letter, and I always have to, be fair on that too, because the letter itself is weird. Epstein wrote an email and sent it to himself.
it's so weird. I know. I know.
So that's why
I look at all this stuff with a grain of salt. I can't tell what's real, what's not real. There's too many
Yeah.
fingers in the pie, too many intelligence operatives who are quite willing to send phony emails to frame somebody.
I mean, it worked with, Epstein. Epstein worked with the CIA back in the 80s,
Yep.
doing gun
Yep.
running and everything
Yep.
else. So, I
Yep.
mean, it's like it's a long, long, crazy thing. But
Yeah.
the House
I
Oversight
think it's
Committee-
coming to an end. I think after the Hillary and Bill testimony, we might be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll linger a little bit more, but I am wondering if the blunder from Ro Khanna and Massey has blown up in their face enough to shut them up a little bit.
That's what I
because-
was getting at. That's what I
Yeah.
was implying. Yeah.
Well, and also Massey, somebody was sharing a bit from Politico, and I didn't have time to get the full article, where they were asking Massey about Mike Johnson and votes. And Massey actually said, I told him all he has to do is compliment my work on Epstein and he'd have my vote.
Oh boy.
So I'm like, I mean, it's so despicable as the chicks
dude,
on the
don't
right
get me
pointed
started
out
with this
that this
fucking guy.
guy,
He's
you've
got like a
to do-
13% approval rating down there. I mean, what is with this guy, man? I mean, is he the next Marjorie Taylor Greene?
well, they were thick as thieves. They were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Will he
Uh,
end up replacing Anderson Cooper on CNN?
I don't know if he's that skilled of a.
No, I don't mean replacing him pound for pound, but I'm saying
Yeah, right.
Cooper has now been fired, forced out, which is the greatest day out of 60 Minutes. He is now being forced to resign by CBS. They're giving him an open door, like he's tired. You know, he's going to quit. He was forced out. Will Massey, will he be able to come in on a CNN panel? Let me put it that way, and be a regular after he loses his seat, like
Possibly.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, as you predicted on The
The
View.
View. Yeah.
He can't be on The View, Massey, but where can he go, Eric?
I don't know. Oberman keeps turning up.
Yeah.
I really don't have a good answer on where he can go, but
I think
wherever
his
it is,
family's got liquor money, right?
apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently. Speaking of that, you mentioned the CBS thing, and I did have the story from the other day. This CBS News producer, I always love this,
Oh my God.
quits in a fiery note, lambasting
Look how
Barry
fiery
Weiss
she is.
break from journalistic merit. So remember Weiss did the buyout?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this one.
Did she
of
take it? Was
course-
she one who took it?
Yeah. She took it, but she left, a poison pill. I think that Anderson Cooper's probably part of that buyout too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
So,
Definitely.
but I always love that. That's the whole, you can't fire me. I quit.
It's so funny because it's the actual reverse of reality. He's saying that they had journalistic integrity. The reason that Barry Weiss was brought in was because of their lack of journalistic integrity. And you're being forced out because you had no journalistic integrity. So, of course, they say, I am the only one that had journalistic integrity. So I am taking the buyout and leaving with my journalistic integrity that I put in a bag and I took with me. And it's right here on the floor.
Yep, that well-worn carpet bag.
The well-worn carpet bag. I will now be going to my local newspaper in Savannah, Georgia. Well, I will be the editor.
No, I'm sorry, Mark. That was the old days. I know that they will be opening a Substack.
First, I'm opening a Substack. Then I'm going to have a podcast with my unemployed friends.
100%. But what's so
It'll be
funny-
called CSEE BSers.
Yeah. What I love about it though is I enjoy seeing the mentality of all I have to do is do a podcast because I'm so popular.
Good luck.
But ask how easy that is. Go ahead and ask Harry and Meghan. Go ahead and ask Michelle and Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Go ahead and so it's like just because you're rich and famous or a well-known actor does not mean you can be a podcaster. And I was just reading an article. One podcast I'd recommend folks check out if you haven't checked out, Mark. Guys, I think an excellent interviewer is Diary of a CEO. The guy's name is Stephen Bartlett. He's a black guy from Britain. He was part of the Dragon's Den, which is sort of their Shark Tank. He's a business guy anyway. And they were pointing out that, yeah, he was really famous. He was like the youngest shark or whatever in there. He got his fortune very young.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying, yeah, sure, he was very rich and famous, but look at all the other rich and famous people. They can't do a podcast that's on top of the world. And he's like on top of the world. Anyway, I do enjoy watching them go try to have their show, and then you look at the numbers and everybody starts laughing their asses off.
Right. Oh, not to denounce the dead, but Rob Reiner had a JFK podcast, which while it supposedly had some numbers, never really came anywhere near the numbers that we put up with JFK. Didn't even touch us in terms of street credibility or sheer volume of numbers. And he was Rob Reiner.
Yeah, he was with Soledad O'Brien, too.
O'Brien, former CNN anchor woman.
Yeah. Well, we got Morley. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the work we've done is probably got more eyeballs than Morley has.
No, that's not even close. Absolutely.
I mean, and I'm not trying to brag. I mean, they're
No. I'm just saying it's not so easy to pull off. Theirs was scripted. They read a script. He had all kinds of former CIA heads as his advisors. Eric and I don't have that.
that we know of.
That we know of.
Well, we're still worried about Palomaro, right? No, I'm just kidding.
There's certain guys.
That's a joke.
But he actually used them as consultants, the heads of the CIA. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, probably got some funding.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, it didn't end well. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's one where I'm like, yeah, it's probably too soon for some things.
Even that's too soon, really? Okay.
Well, no, I don't know. Well, it depends on what you're saying. It's like, the day after talking about a parent teacher conference, might be a little rough of a comment. But
the story has gone away where the kid is now, could have been completely MK Ultra for all you and I know, Eric. I mean, his social media posts were taken down right after Trump got reelected. This is the father who went into rehab because he lost his mind. There's a lot of baggage here. There's a lot of baggage that people are ignoring. His CIA connections, his social media CIA connections, his Trump derangement syndrome, his checking into rehab, all of a sudden being eliminated by his crazy possible MK Ultra son. A lot of stuff on that bone, my friend.
There is a really interesting thing about Nick Reiner, though, is how he had Alan Jackson, Jackson's high power, but then he's resigned and he's got a public defender. And I'm not trying to shortchange the public defender because that particular public defender is apparently a phenomenal lawyer because tons of experience dealing with every capital crime out there. But it's interesting. So something went.
There's so much crazy
sideways.
stuff about the case. I mean, but I'm saying even going further back to this JFK, he names the shooters.
Oh, yeah.
Right, Eric. Right. He kept promising to name. And at the end, Eric and I went, who? Who are these guys? We're like, going, what? And then he disappears and he goes back to his Trump thing. And apparently, from what my research says, that the Obamas were coming over that night because Rob Reiner was leaving all of his estate to be divvied up by leftist NGOs that would be coordinated by the Obamas. You can't make this stuff up, folks. That's why the Obamas were coming over.
Wasn't it you who said that was the first time they ever had visited him or come over?
Oh, that I don't know.
It was not because I had thought, they probably because he bundled. He did.
He was a
raise
bundler
money
for
for
yeah.
But somebody said no, that was actually the first time that they actually.
That I don't know, but they were supposed to come over that night. How do we know that? Because they said that in a podcast,
which is crazy. Why?
I know. So they were supposed to, from what I understand, receive the bulk of his estate, and the kids were cut out of the will. And this became a motivation for the crazy kid. The other two kids had gone and lawyered up months before, trying to crack the estate so they could be in the will or the trust. Yeah, there's a lot of meat on that bone, bro. A lot of meat on that bone.
Wow. Good times for all. All right. Well, while the House is, looking at Epstein or whatever else, have you ever heard of 764?
No.
Okay. This is bonkers. They are opening a probe, House Oversight Panel, of the 764 Internet bleep extortion cult.
Is this Luna, by the way, or someone else?
Is this? It's Comer.
Okay, but it's not specifically Congresswoman Luna.
No. It's Comer who's doing it.
Okay.
So it's not Luna that I know of. I don't remember. But anyway, it's saying that it's a sadistic nihilistic terror cult that preys on minors, coerces them into bad things, self-harm, animal stuff. All it's like things I can't even say on YouTube. It's just a laundry list of every imaginable bad thing that is out there.
I just want to interject one thing about Congresswoman Luna, because somebody in the comments section said there was no chance of Tim Walz and the Attorney General Ellison getting indicted. Congresswoman Luna referred both of them for criminal indictments to the Department of Justice. So that is not a rumor. That is an official act on the part of Congresswoman Luna. I just wanted to interject that because people were questioning in the comment section last week.
Fair enough. I
don't know where it's going to go. That's up to Bondi.
I don't know either, because there's been a lot of referrals. How many referrals has Tulsi Gabbard sent to DOJ?
Exactly. I mean, she should just list them all and say, any news on my referrals, lady? You know.
And by the way, why is nobody? I don't know if this is happening. Somebody in the chat, let me know. When Bondi was in front of Congress, is anybody asking her about the referrals?
Nope.
And saying, hey, what about this referral, this referral, and this referral?
I would list them all. Say, give me an update on every single referral here, especially the governor of Minnesota, for Christ's sakes. You're telling me that you got a criminal referral of a major vice presidential candidate and you have nothing to say about it? What is he supposed to do? I mean, not to defend him, but what is he supposed to do? Lawyer up, twist in the wind, hope it goes away? I mean, in all fairness, Eric.
Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree. Let me see. I've got a brief Olympic story here. I thought this was interesting. You have these people are so pathetically political. It's just sad.
Who, the actual athletes, or?
Oh, of course, you have athletes and otherwise. So we
have time to be political when you. In the old days, you didn't have 5 minutes to even read a book when you were training for sports.
Well, this person may be, in fact, a caster. It's an ex-ESPN star. Sarah Spain felt, quote, ill sitting near Demon.
These are
Katie Vance at Winter Olympics. He's like the devil.
Right. She had feelings. In other words, it's now the feelings of former people that used to work at a particular network's feelings. I mean, you talk about a non-factual based story. My feelings felt this about that.
We see that Demon holding children. I mean, I'm offended.
So darkly stupid. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I've seen,
whatever you may not agree with his politics, but your feelings, it's insane when you have to bring in words like demonic. I mean, really, there's no limit to what they say. It has pushed the boundaries of civil verbiage to another universe.
I totally agree. And if you, like, I had watched him during one women's hockey. We were kind of watching a women's hockey game that was going for a while, whatever. He was just sitting there playing with his kids, like the whole time. Every time they show him, he's just sitting there laughing and joking with the kids, and they're just hanging out. It's like, oh my God, he's a father.
Wow.
With children.
Wow.
Oh my Lord.
I am a father. I am a mother. I can't relate to him.
Well, you know what? She, ex ESPN. I wonder if she worked with Olbermann. I'm sure they see eye
you
to
put
eye.
ESPN on there, you might as well, put the Klan up there, because that's how political they are. I mean, they are a demonic group. I mean, when ESPN first went political, I was kind of stunned, because I went like, what is this now? I mean, this is years ago when they first became a political network. I was taken aback by it, not because of what they were saying, simply because it was a sports network. And then it just became a politically affiliated sports network that I never watched again. But I couldn't believe how political they became in the sports world.
Yeah, no, I know. I totally agree.
Including Keith Olbermann.
Oh, he was just the worst. I mean, that guy is, he is like a fire-breathing maniac. The stuff he says is just
so crazy. He must be on drugs or alcohol.
He makes Jesse Ventura look like a mellow pedestrian napping person.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so out there. And I don't know. It's a caricature. That's my theory, is that he has to keep going up, and he's gotten to the point where he just has to scream everything, because nobody would be like, Olbermann, he's still there saying something.
I'm surprised he is, quote unquote, still there.
Well, he's been fired from everything. He's probably independent now,
right?
Doing something. I don't even know what. Okay, I saw this story, and I was like, you want to talk about bonkers? Who can be even worse than athletes? Athletes, sometimes their parents.
Oh,
Mom fatally shoots daughter before taking her own life in Las Vegas hotel after missing a cheer competition.
Boy, this is dark. It doesn't get any darker than this.
No,
I didn't see this one coming. Holy cow.
I did not. And it is like, apparently there was some sort of an ugly custody battle.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just like, are you kidding? I mean, this is...
Well, obviously had other mental problems.
Oh, they're really were, but
they're totally insane.
I know,
so sad. It's so sad. It is. It really is.
It is definitely sad. Now, okay, on a happy note, though,
that's a dark one. That's a dark one.
I know it's dark.
More than 30 officers.
All right, this is Australia, and kind of a fun little cannabis story.
Police are investigating whether a massive cannabis crop found in regional Victoria is connected to organised crime. More than 30 officers raided a property near Kerrang on Tuesday, prompting 5 workers to flee. The police drone unit followed them through bushland as 3 of them swam across an irrigation channel to try to escape. 4 men were captured and have since appeared in court charged with cultivating a commercial cannabis inside 10 grow houses. Police say they found almost 5,000 plants with an estimated street value of $10 million.
That's a growth facility, Mark.
Wow.
I've seen one.
You need some seed money to get that started. I'll tell you right now.
There's a lot of seeds there.
That's no mom and pop operation, Hunley.
Well, you could tell perspective-wise because look at that vehicle. So you can really see the size and scope of all the buildings.
Right. Well, they peeled back the roof on that one section in the middle there.
Uh-huh.
You can see the green.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. They look like a healthy little crop there.
I got a prediction. Chinese operation.
Could be.
Chinese
especially Australia. Yeah. I mean,
Chinese
China's all over.
They employed local bush people, but that's a Chinese operation.
Fair enough. That makes sense. All right. Well, I just thought that was amusing watching
that was
scramble like crazy. And by the way, I'm glad it was an irrigation ditch. I'm sitting going, Australia? They have crocodiles. I don't know if I'd be running through water.
They have so many weird animals in Australia.
It's a scary thing. Okay, I did not look at this list. It's a short list, people. People get so upset sometimes with the list, but this came out, and it is the worst songs of the 1970s.
Okay, let me see. What are the worst songs? Do we know them, or are they actually famous songs?
Well, they're famous songs. Can you take a wild guess what the worst song of the 1970s is, according to this? Just a wild guess.
Don't Stop Believing.
Nope. Nope. It actually kind of is like when you hear it, it's like, I guess so.
What?
Disco Duck by Rick Dees.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
That kind of earns it a little bit.
I guess so.
Sadly, that's his only popular song.
Well, he was a radio DJ. He's lucky to have any songs.
Well, there you go. So, okay, here we go. We've got the bottom of the list is "Loving You" by Minnie Riperton.
That's Maya, what's his name's mother from SNL, who's married
Maya Randolph or Rudolph?
Maya Rudolph's mother, who's married to Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah, you're right.
Who depicted her with a 16-year-old lookalike in One Battle After Another. Shockingly, the actress looks like her at 16. I found a picture of Maya Rudolph. Oh, it says Maya Rudolph's mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was married to Alan Rudolph, I think, or something Rudolph, who was a record executive, a white record executive.
Okay. Well, that's number 10. Apparently.
Okay.
The worst.
Well, she was a legitimate songstress, though.
I know. So I'm like,
she was
okay.
legit, Minnie Riperton.
All right. Next up is the quote, incredibly stunningly crappy 1975 hit "Feelings" by Morris Albert.
It was a big hit. That was a huge hit, though.
Yeah. Is that a yacht rock prejudice or something?
I don't know what yacht rock is.
Yacht
but
rock is like
Feelings,
Christopher Cross and all the soft rock.
Feeling. I don't know. It was a big hit.
Okay. Well,
I mean, it sucked. It definitely sucked, but it was a big hit.
All right. Well, number 8, Bo Donaldson and Haywood's number 1 hit, "Billy, Don't Be a Hero."
Oh, weird. Rodney McEwen turned into it by Belgian singer Jacques Brel. Jacques Brel. That's really
I'm trying to go in order to you.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was just reading below it.
I know.
Where are we?
I'm going to have to hide it from you or something.
No, where are we?
Okay. So number 7 is "Seasons in the Sun" by Terry Jacks.
Oh, that was a big one. Yeah, I remember that. That sucked too.
Okay, so you're in a
No, I agree. That definitely sucked.
All right. Let me see. "Escape," the Pina Colada song by Rupert Holmes, took number 6.
That sucked. That definitely sucked.
But it's still saying it's going to forever live on as a drunken sing-along.
Yeah.
Captain and Tennille's Muskrat Love.
That really blew. Yeah, that really blew. And they had the worst name for a group in the history of show business, the Captain and Tennille. Just insane.
Well,
that this was legitimate.
70s.
No, but I'm saying that people took this name seriously. The Captain and Tennille. Everybody going, oh yeah, I'm going to Vegas to see the Captain and Tennille. You go, what?
Oh, fair enough. All right. So far you're in agreement though. That
Yeah,
they're pretty bad.
yeah.
All right. Follow it up. "You Light Up My Life" by Debbie Boone.
Oh my God. Anything by Debbie Boone is just so cringeworthy. "You Light Up My Life." I think I took a razor to my own throat when that song came out. I think I was on heroin that week when it came out. Yeah, that was a dark period.
Right. Well,
I was smoking it. I wasn't shooting it. So,
well, then there you go. It's all better. All right.
Yeah.
Number 3 is Paul Anka's Uber Sacre 1974 hit, "You're Having My Baby."
oh my God, did that suck? That absolutely sucked. Monkey balls. Holy shit. Paul Anka should rot in hell. I think he was a poor man's Frank Sinatra.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is it they say now? He's a Timo Frank Sinatra?
Yeah,
That's like
I
the
don't
new
know
trick.
what he was a poor
Timo?
man's Victim Own. And Paul Anka was yikes.
All right. So that's number 3. Number 2, "Afternoon Delight" by the
Oh,
Starlight
that's
Vocal Band.
Oh, they should have been arrested. Oh, that song was so. Now I can't get it out of my head, Hunley. Fuck. That piece of shit song is now battling around in my brain. Afternoon Delight. Oh, stop. Fuck me. Stop it already. Did we run out of songs yet?
Number 1 is Disco Duck. So anyway, there you go, folks. That is the list for today. I thought it would be a fun.
They sucked, Hunley. I agree. Whoever put that list together.
Apparently, people voted on it, so maybe that's
okay.
where
So the
it helped.
people. Yeah. Okay. It's a democratic choice.
because a lot of the Rolling Stones lists are just nothing more than aggravation. Because like
Rolling
they'll say
Stone
the top
magazine's
guitarist,
or-
and they you know how they do that, and then it's like, why are you leaving out X? Fill in the blank guitarist or singer or whatever, and they leave out some big ones, major names.
Yeah.
Kind of like they do the Hall of Fame, the Rock Hall of
It's almost
Fame.
like it's possible that it's pay to play.
Oh, you think? Well, you know who
Yeah, I
exposed,
think,
who
yeah.
exposed a little bit of that, right?
Who?
It's Steve Miller.
Oh, right. With the
Whoa,
Steve Miller
that was
Band,
classic.
yeah.
When he went there and was getting inducted, he just
Yeah.
trashed the shit out of them.
Yeah, it's all pay
in
to
the
play,
speech
bro.
and everything.
Somebody, again, Gene Simmons came out denouncing yet another hip hop act inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this week.
I agree.
I
with
forget
that.
who it was, but Gene Simmons has made a point out of this.
Well, he's right, because he said, "Oh, are you going to put Kiss in the Rap Hall of Fame?"
Mhm.
I think on the basic premise, he is correct. It's like, this is not rock. Even Dolly Parton.
You know what happens with Hall of Fames?
Hmm.
They run out of famous people.
Yeah.
And then they have to just bring in less famous people. Same thing happened in baseball. Same thing happened in football. Same things happen in the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. After a while, it's finite, Eric. It's finite. You just go, all right, we're done. Now what? Well, how about hip hop guys? You really want to go there, Bob? Well, we don't have anybody. You want to lose your job?
Right. Well, and that's where I was giving credit, like, because even Dolly Parton said, I should not be going in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right.
And she tried to turn down the nomination. Apparently, it's like, you can't really.
The only thing that they should do is reduce the amount of people, which they won't do, to like one. In other words, what I would do would say, okay, it's one person a year. And if that's too much, make it one person every 5 years. But they do it like 5 people a year. A schmuck can figure out you're going to run out of people in like 5 years. You know what I mean? And thereby having to induct blues musicians, hip hop musicians.
But then they ignore people like Jethro Tull, who obviously, have a place in there, and others.
What they're
Moody
trying to
Blues, I
show
think,
is that we can't induct every single rock act.
Sure.
So we'll bring in people of other genres before we do that.
Oh, great.
Yeah. It's so
That's always
stupid. It's so stupid.
that's always encouraging. Well, you know who are not stupid?
Who?
Our chat.
Oh, what are they up to?
All right. Well,
I was
first
trying
off,
to defend you while you were futzing around with your computer and they were attacking you viciously. I went on and said Hunley's got some technical issues.
I see. You see,
Yeah.
you see how Mark is so quick to sell me out, because usually it's him with the tech issues. He's just celebrating today.
No,
He's like,
I was
"No, it
saying
wasn't me."
Hunley's rebooting his computer. Then I said you were making soup, and then
Mm-hmm.
I just ran out of I just gave up. I ran out of excuses for you.
And by the way, yes, I have a dead monitor in the middle. That's why I'm
Yeah.
looking at the sides the entire show. Because anyway, whatever.
But it is usually me, so that's why people in the comments had already turned on me. So I had to go in and defend myself. They said I didn't put the money in the machine to keep the dial-up going.
Yeah,
It's taken me 4 years, but to my credit, with the help of Hunley and certain manuals, I've been able to figure out and stabilize my problems.
Knock on wood.
Yeah,
Wherever the
knock
hell
on
you
wood.
are. Or to quote our friend Viva, touch wood.
Touch wood. I don't know what that means.
It's the same thing. I don't know why
Maybe it's the
Canadians say
Canadian
touch wood
version.
instead
Knock
of
on wood.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
All right, Anthony, out of Australia.
Anthony was involved in this drug bust, I think, down there. Yeah, he said he phoned in the tip line. It was like
Well, he's got to get money for super
a
chats.
weed tip line that he phoned into.
Yeah, well, he's trying to collect money for super chats, which I appreciate. I understand. Sometimes you gotta go out there and do that. But anyway, he said research indicates Trump's fault.
Boy, he's really expanding his vernacular.
Hey, why not? Why not? Tootly Pip says, please mention Ned Pepperroll in the original True Grit.
I just want to say that Duvall hated the movie True Grit, and he said the director was a psychopath. I forget who the director was, but he really went to task denouncing both True Grit and the director, if that helps you at all.
Wow, I'm trying to think who the director was, because that was one of...
Yeah, he didn't name him. I didn't bother to look it up. It was just He did not like. He was talking about old school directors versus new school directors.
Henry Hathaway.
Okay, Hathaway was an old school Hollywood director, where they would tell you where to stand and how to look and everything. And he just walked off the set at one point and said, I'm going to go to your house or something, and you could do this, put on my costume and do this yourself.
John Ford was that way too.
Yeah, John Ford was that way. He did not get along with these older Hollywood directors.
Was he method or?
No, he wasn't. But he claims he knows Stanislavski because he quotes certain things, but he claims that he wasn't method. But he does know stuff from Stanislavski. He in fact, he said about people who stay in character. He said, the poor bastards, he says, how do they live with themselves? They're going to run out of energy by the end of the day, because it takes so much energy. And he's right. He's right. They just go crazy staying in that character. It takes energy.
Yeah. Maybe is more in the Sanford Meisner, who I think is mostly Stanislavski, but kind of a little.
He's somewhere in the middle because he does know Stanislavski, but he said he's not method, that he turns it on and off when he wants to.
Well, I think the best ones too.
Yeah, he said, I don't become a character. He said,
right.
He actually said that. I don't become a character. I play a character. I act as a character. I don't become a character.
Yeah. No, I am totally a legendary guy, obviously. Speaking of the character actors, one of my favorite things is Laurence Olivier and Dustin Hoffman in Marathon Man, because that was the ultimate collision of
the two
method actor and Laurence Olivier.
Why doesn't he just act? Why doesn't
it wouldn't be so hard on yourself?
Yeah, it takes a lot of energy to stay in character. Put it that way.
Yeah, it really does. And I think it shows the true talent where they could just flip it on and off
like a professional.
Like some of the really great ones too can literally almost like a split personality where they're doing and then they might like to say a joke to a cameraman, they flip back and you're just like, whoa, it's discombobulating.
Well, and certain movie stars are simply themselves. You know what I mean? If you look at some of these, Clooney is exactly the same in character as he's not. The movie
or John
stars,
Wayne or
Brad Pitt, who can have a little bit of character in there, but most of the movie stars are really just themselves. That's a definition of a film star, movie star type versus a real classic actor.
And then there's the bridges. I mean, would you consider Downey Jr. a bridge where he is himself, but yet he can go?
Oh no, he could morph. He could morph into Charlie Chaplin. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I mean,
but he also has his own personality, which really Iron Man is close to him.
But playing Strauss, Admiral Strauss, which he won the Academy Award for in Oppenheimer, that was a completely different character. The head of the Atomic Energy Commission.
True. Somebody said Clint Eastwood. I've seen Clint Eastwood play Misty for me. He just didn't show depth a lot, but he could show depth if he really wanted to.
But most of the time, he's just Clint Eastwood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which pays the bills. Jack Nicholson.
Well, he moves behind the camera, and then he's directing himself at times, which is insanely difficult.
Well, and he's insanely good. I mean, for sure. Tootly Pip. Well, that's what I already read. Sorry,
I did that right.
Dr. Evil.
This guy's a regular now, right?
That's right, and he has a great message for everybody that I absolutely.
Is that the logo for the coffee? That gun with the guy with a hat?
No.
Close though, right?
No, but you know what? I think that you are on track. We probably should look. I should not make
the magic bullet. Didn't it have a rifle in it, or no?
It did. It did have a rifle in it, and where he's coming out of a hat. So rifleman coming out of the hat.
Different angle.
So here's Dr. Evil. He's finished shooting and put on a hat.
It's a silhouette of a man.
Absolutely.
He doesn't have a scope on his, but
much like Oswald, didn't it? Scope, no scope, scope, no scope. Pick a scope. Do we have a scope today? Which rifle? Which model? Which everything?
Right. That's right.
So hey, a lot of variety. But following Dr. Evil, I agree. You can always have phenomenally great coffee and support us with America's Untold Stories, Supreme Breakfast Blend, or Magic Bullet Blend. And to tip people off, we may be talking about another sponsor that some of you might be familiar with. I have to clear things up, but Biltong may be coming on board and doing some stuff with us as well. And I think a lot of you have heard that name. But the coffee, again, you can use our safe QR code. I know it's safe because I created it. And you can point your phone at the TV or just use americasuntoldstories.com/coffee and get a flavorful delight. I'm not your buddy guy.
Whoa.
I am pissed and done caring here in Canada, in Calgary. A trans person stabbed his 7 and 8-year-old son and daughter in the neck. They barely survived, and all he got was 5 years probation.
What?
No prison.
Oh my God, it's insane.
But they probably were apologizing for misgendering him.
Whoa, that's really dark.
Yeah.
What do you got to do to go to prison up there?
Well, be a conservative. Tell a joke. Remember, we have one guy who did a joke, and I think he finally scraped out of it, but he was going to serve real time and like $10,000 fine and all kinds of things. So there you go. What do? You tell a joke. Scott Binbo, who we met in California. Mark, when you travel to Arizona, stop by Buckeye where you can grab lunch. Then handle the same serial number range, the same armory, Carcano minus optics. Not sure if my uncle will let you fire it.
Oh wow, that's a great offer.
That's a
just stopping by Buckeye is a great offer. I always drive right through Buckeye out of fear that something's going to go wrong. Plus, I'm trying to get where I'm going. But you're saying stop in Buckeye and fire massive weapons at cars downrange, I think is what he's implying.
Maybe, but I don't think that's that massive a weapon.
No, there is a place near there that has anti-aircraft guns.
Oh yeah, people go there out of Vegas, right?
Yeah, and you could fire downrange at burnt out cars, which is what I always wanted to do. I don't know if he's implying that's here, but there are places on that route where you could sit in the actual seat and fire anti-aircraft guns downrange in a car.
Well, that would be cool. I don't know if you could do it too, but it would be fun to do if you could go up in a helicopter and shoot out the door down.
Well, that I've never heard of, but this place is pretty well established. It's been.
I've heard of that one. Yeah. Can you imagine what they go through every year for their damn license?
Insurance.
They have
license.
Well, insurance. I mean, but the firearms license they have to hold to do that kind of thing is crazy. William Ratcliffe says Trump knew what he was doing. He had them beg to release the files, and he's now reeling them in.
Not exactly. He fought this tooth and nail, bro, because he didn't want to step on his own political message every single day. Are you kidding? You think he wanted this noise? You don't think?
Yeah, and he's got Lutnick in the files.
Oh my God,
he's got Bannon in the files, and it's just one person after. It is not helpful.
Rightfully so. For tooth and nail because of what's happened.
Yeah,
it's not worth the political capital.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, Sean Lucan, very generous, $50. Thank you very much, sir. Great show as always, gentlemen.
AKA the Wolf Boy, Sean Lucan. We had a guy on the Dodgers, I think his name was Lucan, and he had Wolf Boy disease. He was a pitcher and he had hair on his face. He was the Wolf Boy. I don't know what that's called. It's got a scientific name for it, but it's Wolf Boy disease. Your face is covered with hair.
I've heard of that. It's
rare. Right. Yeah, and he had that disease. He pitched for the Dodgers, and we had to let him go. It was just scaring the children.
I'll let the chat respond.
No, I'm telling you, my memory may be faulty, but we had a Wolf Boy on the Dodgers.
Somebody says Eddie Munster syndrome.
Eddie Munster. It's got a name for it. I mean, short name is Wolf Boy disease, but
somebody's saying lycanthropy, and it could be.
I forget the name, the scientific name, but we always.
I'm looking at the chat. The chat. Somebody will actually come in.
Yeah, somebody will nail it.
Come on.
We called him Wolf Boy.
You're letting us down here. I mean, there's somebody spectrum enough to have found this by now. Yeah. Dogman.
No.
Pursuitism.
No.
That's
He was a good pitcher too. He was a good reliever.
Okay. Here we go. Hypertrichosis.
Nah, I don't remember that. But if that's the name, that's the name. I don't remember.
A couple of
that.
people are saying I think that might be.
Okay.
That sounds like that kind of thing.
Okay.
Hypertrichosis.
He would shave between innings. I mean, come on, Eric.
Grew that fast?
I'm kidding.
It's like, what the hell?
I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, thank you, American Dreamer. Harryism.
Harryism.
Freaking. Oh my God. You guys will just write and say anything.
They'll say.
I'm proud of you. Oh man. Oh, all right. So let's see. Back to super chats. True Texan says, Bondi, do not let the door hit you where the good Lord split you.
Yeah, look, I mean, again, this guy, Todd Blanche, seems to be speaking out more. I just want to point that out. He is starting to develop a public face. And in the Trump world, to me, that means eventually you're going to be the guy. Hopefully. Yeah, because why would Blanche be speaking for the first time, really, the past couple of weeks, if Bondi's doing such a great job?
All right. And we have a masochist in the chat, it appears.
Mm-hmm.
Just finished listening to Disco Duck. That was awful.
Oh, yeah, that sucks.
Why would
that
you
really
do that to
sucks.
yourself? I mean,
That really
that's so
sucks.
bad that it was like lower tier Dr. Demento.
Yeah, there was the burning of disco records at Comiskey Park with the White Sox. And Disco Duck was the #1 record that was destroyed and burned. They had a rock radio station, had a promo to burn all these disco records for the White Sox in the 70s, and Disco Duck was the main offender.
I don't know if that is in fact true, but I've always read that was the point that disco just died, is that they were burning the records. And then
this event at Comiskey Park, I mean, White Sox fans know it was a huge cultural event.
Yeah. And the
disco
Bee
night
Gees
and anti-disco
unfairly
night.
got caught into that.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Which I never understood, because I mean, they really were not a disco band.
No.
But boy, they got associated.
Yeah.
All right. Gypsy Blues, who we met in Youngstown. I love Diary of a CEO. Not as much as America's Untold Stories, of course. You guys really got me into having podcasts I never miss.
Wow,
So
that's
thank
positive.
you.
That's positive.
Thank you very much. And yeah, it really is. Diary of a CEO. I'm sure he has help with it, but he asks phenomenal questions, really good on point questions. And, I admire anybody that interviews really, really well. And he does a pretty damn good job. Pamela, happy Tuesday, guys. Pamela, happy Tuesday to you, as always. Thank you so much. John Springer overlooked Robert Duvall role as the editor in Ron Howard's 1994 movie about a New York City tabloid. We reek of opinions. You know what every columnist at this paper needs to do is to shut the F up.
What movie was that?
I don't know. You got to give us the title.
Yeah.
It's a Ron Howard
front page or something. I forget what the name of that movie is. But next week we're doing a movie called 7 Days in May on Wednesday. But next week we're going to do Network with Robert Duvall as a movie on Thursday with Viva. So this week will be
the paper.
Right. Yeah, that was an obscure Ron Howard movie.
Well,
yeah.
He has had a few.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but I want to look at Network with Duvall the following week, because it's an incredible. He plays the head of the news division, and great performance, absolutely great performance.
All right. Speaking of Ron Howard, there's a book written by his producing partner Brian Grazer. Sorry.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the book, but I mean, he didn't write that many. I recommend it to everyone. He literally made it a career out of going to lunch with everybody in Hollywood. He did it for like
came
30
to his house
continuous
for
years.
dinner, actually. All these famous non-show business people like Jonas Salk and others would come to his house, or he would have dinner with them over the years. Every week would be another non-show business person, from what I remember in the book.
He did show business too.
He did? Okay.
I read the book. Yeah, no, it was just, it was like
Did it
whoever
mention
he could
Salk in
get.
there?
Who he did have Salk. He would go at but
Okay. All right.
whoever he could get that was interesting to him, he
Fascinating.
deliberately, went out of his way and had lunches. It's a really interesting book.
Loved his hair. Always loved his hair. One of my
Oh,
inspirations.
that's it.
That's
Okay.
right. Now you're catching on.
All right.
One of my heroes, Brian Grazer.
All right. Well, there you go. I didn't got his name.
Look at
wrong,
the picture. Google a picture of Brian Grazer.
No, I know now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I got it from.
Okay. It's a great book.
Yeah.
I do recommend people check it out.
Yeah.
Scott Bimbo, we can arrange something.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Maybe the Remington XP 500 pistol.
Whoa, really? The fireball? Now you're
God.
talking.
You
Now
and
we're getting
you and
that.
James.
I'd love to fire the fireball.
All right. Well, you guys can work it out. But we are going to work things out and head over to locals.
I'm going to see Cat Power tonight at the Orpheum downtown, just so you know.
You're going to see who?
Cat Power.
Cat Power?
People know. The people know.
Yeah, but I want to know.
Look it up while you're going over to locals.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about Cat Power and whatever the hell that is over on locals. Again, unstructured.locals.com. There's a link in the chat. You can go there. You can join for free. If you pay to support us, you get even more opportunities. You can post yourself. You can comment. On Saturdays, I have a grill stream. I've opened it up and started to do Zoom sessions where, it's like, hey, you want to come on and hang out and talk with other members of the community? Come on by. But unstructured.locals.com. And I hope to see you there. Whatever Mark is doing, I have no idea right now, but we're on our way.